Julia Anderson had dreamed of Paris since she was a teenager. The city of lights, art, and music always called to her heart. She remembered how she and her late husband, Mark, used to talk about going there one day. They would sit on their old porch swing, holding hands, saying, "When Ethan grows up, we'll go see the Eiffel Tower." But Mark passed away before that dream could happen. Life became smaller after that, quieter, slower, and lonelier. Still, Julia carried that dream inside her. Now her son Ethan was 24, working full-time, and living just a few miles away. She thought maybe it was time to bring that dream to life again, together. She spent weeks planning everything. Every morning before work, she'd sit with a cup of coffee and browse travel sites. She wanted something simple, not fancy, just a warm place that felt like home. When she found Hotel Montclair, a small boutique hotel in Montmartre, she knew it was perfect. The photos showed narrow balconies, flower pots on the windows, and soft yellow walls that made her smile. Julia clicked book now. The system offered her room 307, a small double room with a street view. She imagined waking up to the smell of croissants and the sound of music from the cafe below. She even printed the confirmation email and pinned it on her fridge, right beside the grocery list. Every day she told Ethan a little more about the plan. "We'll visit the Louvre on the first day," she said one night. "We can eat near the river. You'll love the crepes." Ethan smiled politely, but he didn't sound excited. He was always distracted lately, his phone lighting up with messages. Julia guessed it was Lena, his girlfriend of 2 years. Julia liked her mostly. Lena was cheerful, fashionable, and full of confidence. Sometimes a little too full. But she made Ethan happy, and that was enough for Julia. One evening, Julia made spaghetti, Ethan's favorite. She was in the kitchen, humming softly, when she heard the front door open. Ethan walked in, his expression strange, like he was carrying something heavy. "Hey, Mom," he said quietly. She smiled. Perfect timing. "Dinner's ready." He didn't sit down right away. He rubbed the back of his neck, glancing around as if searching for the right words. "Everything okay?" she asked, setting the plate down. He sighed. "Mom, I don't think I can go to Paris this year." Julia blinked. "What? Why?" "It's just money's tight right now. Rent went up, and my car needs work. I'm behind on bills." He avoided her eyes. Julia's smile faded, but she tried to stay calm. "Oh, Ethan, I wish you'd told me earlier. You don't have to worry about the cost, you know. I can help a little." He shook his head quickly. "No, Mom. I don't want that. I just think it's not the right time." Julia looked down at her plate. The excitement she'd been holding on to for weeks slowly melted away. "I understand," she said softly. "Paris will wait." They ate in silence. She tried to talk about other things, his work, the new neighbors, but her voice sounded tired, and he barely listened. After dinner, Ethan hugged her, said, "Love you, Mom," and left. When the door closed, Julia sat at the table for a long time, staring at the empty plates. The clock ticked loudly in the quiet house. That night, she went online and canceled the hotel reservation. She paused before clicking the red Cancel Booking button, her cursor hovering over it. She whispered to herself, "Maybe next year." The confirmation message popped up. "Your reservation for room 307 has been canceled." Julia closed her laptop and turned off the lights. But lying in bed, she couldn't sleep. Something about Ethan's words replayed in her head. "It's not the right time." He didn't sound worried, he sounded guilty. She brushed off the thought. "You're overthinking," she told herself. "He's an adult now. He's got responsibilities." Still, her heart ached. For years, she had carried the dream of standing beneath the Eiffel Tower with her son. It wasn't about the city, it was about them. About having something to look forward to again. The next morning, Julia went to work as usual. She smiled at her co-workers and made small talk about the weather. But behind her polite smile was quiet sadness. That evening, she scrolled through her travel folder one last time. The hotel brochure, the itinerary she had made, the little notes she had written. She deleted them all. Then she sat back and took a deep breath. Maybe Ethan was right. Maybe it really wasn't the right time. Still, she couldn't shake the image of the Eiffel Tower glowing at night. She could almost hear Mark's voice teasing her. "Don't wait too long, Jules." She looked at her phone. Ethan had texted, "Love you, Mom. Sorry about the trip." Julia typed back, "It's okay. Love you more." Then she turned off her phone, leaned back on the couch, and closed her eyes. She told herself that she was fine. That next year would be better. But deep inside, she knew something had changed. Something small but sharp, like a splinter under the skin, was bothering her. She didn't know why. She didn't know that in just a few days, that small splinter would tear her heart wide open. Because soon, she was going to see something online that would make her question everything she thought she knew about her son. And it would all begin with a single photo. It was Saturday afternoon. The sun came through the living room window in soft stripes. Julia had just finished watering the plants. She made tea, sat on the couch, and opened her phone to distract herself. She told herself she would not think about Paris today. She would not think about the canceled booking or the empty spot on her calendar where those travel dates used to be. She scrolled through recipes, a dog video, a neighbor's birthday cake. Then she saw a new story at the top of her screen, Lena's profile picture with a bright ring around it. Julia smiled out of habit. She tapped. The first clip was an airport selfie. Lena in big sunglasses, lips in a playful kiss, plain emoji in the corner. Julia's thumb paused. She felt a light prick in her chest, but said nothing to herself. People travel all the time, she thought. Maybe Lena was visiting her cousin. Maybe this was old footage. Maybe. The next story was a shot of clouds from a window seat. Music played lightly, soft, romantic. Julia swallowed. Her tea went cold. Then came a photo of a narrow street with slanted roofs and a little bakery on the corner. The caption read, "Bonjour." Another clip. Metal fences and a tall iron shape rising between buildings. A quick zoom. The iron shape was not a guess anymore. It was the Eiffel Tower. Julia's heart began to pound in a slow, heavy rhythm. She did not tap away. She did not breathe as the next story loaded. A room with warm yellow walls, a brass lamp with a small pull chain, a framed print of a blue bicycle, red curtains gathered by a soft tie-back, and a tiny balcony door with a thin black railing outside. Julia knew that room. Her fingertips tingled. She reached for the coffee table with her free hand, steadying herself. She looked again to be sure. The lamp, the bicycle print, the curtains, the balcony door. She had memorized them when she chose that hotel. She had pictured waking up to those red curtains and stepping onto that small balcony to drink her first Paris coffee. Lena's caption said, "Finally living our Paris dream. Red Heart, France." The words felt like a stone dropped into deep water. Everything inside Julia went quiet at once. No noise. No reason. She left the story and opened her email. She scrolled through her travel folder to the confirmation she had refused to delete. There it was, Hotel Montclair, room 307, street view, red curtains, brass lamp, balcony door. She tapped the photos inside the booking and compared. The lamp was the same. The bicycle print was the same. Even the hairline scratch on the corner of the bedside table was the same. She zoomed in on Lena's photo. The scratch was there. Her breath came back as a small, shaky sound. She opened Lena's profile. There were still photos on the main feed, posted minutes earlier. A croissant by the window. 2 coffee cups on the small round table. A suitcase by the bed. In one photo, Julia could see the edge of a second suitcase, darker, larger. A shadow of a person in the mirror frame. The height and shape were familiar. Ethan's. She pinched her lips together, held them flat until they hurt. She felt something bitter rise in her throat, but it was not anger yet. It was a kind of emptiness. She thought, he could have told me the truth. He could have said he wanted to go with her alone. I would have been hurt, but I would have understood. What she could not understand was this, using her plan, her room, her dream, and saying it was too expensive. Her eyes blurred. She put the phone down and pressed her fingers to her eyelids, counting to 10. When she opened them, the world came back into focus, sharp and bright. The room looked different, as if all the shapes had edges now. She picked up the phone again. Her thumb hovered over the call icon next to Ethan's name. She pictured his face, the one he wore when he was 10 and he had broken a glass and tried to hide it behind the cereal boxes. She pictured him now, 24, standing in that room with the red curtains, feeling grown and free. She did not want to hear his voice if it came with a lie. She went back to Lena's newest post, the one with the bed and the lamp and the view she knew by heart. The like count was climbing. Friends were commenting hearts and little airplane emojis. There was joy in that comment thread, and none of it was hers. Julia thought of all the nights she had sat with spreadsheets, comparing prices. She thought of the careful math, the little sacrifices. No new coat this winter. Fewer takeout dinners. A coin jar that filled slowly, then faster. She thought of how she had chosen room 307, because the view made her feel like the city was smiling right at her. She had imagined saying to Ethan, "Come look, you can see the flower shop from here." Her fingers moved before she made a plan. She tapped the comment box under Lena's photo. The keyboard appeared, waiting. She did not type a speech. She did not type a fight. She typed 3 words and 3 numbers, each letter a small, clean step she could stand on. Enjoy room 307. She pressed send. The word sat there under the photo, neat and quiet. At first, nothing happened. The feed did not explode. No one screamed. The world went on as if she had thrown a pebble into a river. But she knew the pebble would hit the bottom, and someone would feel the ripple. She put the phone face down on the table and stood up. She walked to the kitchen sink and turned on the water. She washed her cup as if her hands could wash away the heat moving through her chest. She dried it with the striped towel and set it back in its place. The towel felt rough against her fingers. Everything felt real, painfully real. Her phone buzzed once on the table. Then again, a faster rhythm. She stared at it from across the room, heart thudding. She did not rush. She wiped the counter that was already clean. She straightened the stack of mail that was already straight. She finally picked up the phone. On the screen were 3 new notifications. One was a like from a neighbor on her garden photo. One was a reply to a work message. The third was a direct message from Lena. "Hi Julia. Did you used to stay here? Small world LOL." The words looked shiny and careless. Julia did not answer. The phone began to ring. The name on the screen was the one she knew best, the one she had written 1,000 times on school forms and birthday cards. The sound filled the room like a pulled thread about to snap. She looked at the call for one long breath, feeling the weight of what would happen when she slid her thumb across. She felt the old promise she had made to herself and to the boy with the scraped knees and the gap-toothed grin. "I will be your safe place. I will tell you the truth." She answered, and for the first 3 seconds, neither of them said a word. The silence was not empty. It was full of Paris and red curtains and a small balcony she had not stood on. Then Ethan exhaled, and his voice came through, thin and shaking. "Mom, please. Mom, please." Julia held the phone to her ear and stared at the quiet room. The plants by the window were still. The clock ticked. Her voice came out steady. "I'm listening." On the other end, Ethan took a shaky breath. "It's not what you think." "What do I think?" Julia asked. "Say it out loud." Silence. Then a small, broken sound. "I shouldn't have gone. I knew it. I knew it the second the plane took off." Julia walked to the dining table and sat down. She placed her free hand flat on the wood to stop it from trembling. "You told me the trip was too expensive," she said. "You watched me cancel it. Then you went anyway. Same hotel. Same room." "I didn't mean to hurt you," Ethan said quickly. "Lena wanted a couple's trip. She said it would be weird, me going with my mom. I tried to say no, but she kept saying we're adults and it's our life." Julia closed her eyes. "You are an adult," she said softly. "Adults use honest words." He swallowed. "I didn't know how to tell you without making you cry." "I cry when I'm lied to," she said. "Honesty doesn't break me." For a few seconds, all she could hear was the thin sound of air through the receiver. She pictured him standing by the small balcony door, looking at Paris like it was something he earned. She pictured the red curtains behind him, the brass lamp beside the bed. Her chest tightened, then loosened again. She would not beg her son to choose her. "Tell me the whole truth, Ethan," she said. "All of it." "I took the hotel info from your email," he said in a rush. "I showed Lena the pictures weeks ago. She loved it. When I told her we canceled, she said we should just go anyway. She said it was our dream too." "Did you pay for this trip?" Julia asked. The question came out calm, but inside it felt like a door opening onto cold air. There was no answer. Julia waited. 10 seconds. 15. She listened to the faraway sounds on his end, a muffled car horn, a soft click, maybe his hand on the lamp chain. She knew silence had a shape, and this one was guilt. "Ethan," she said. "Did you pay?" He exhaled in a long, uneven line. "I was going to," he whispered. "I swear. I was going to move money around. But the deposit came due fast. I used the card on my phone. It autofilled. I thought I'd pay you back before you noticed." Julia went very still. Her fingers eased off the table. "You used my card." "I didn't mean," he stopped. "I knew it was wrong. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself you'd be okay because you'd already saved for it. I told myself a lot of things." A warm pressure started behind Julia's eyes, but no tears came. Not yet. You told yourself a story so you could do what you wanted, she said. You pushed the part that hurt me to the edge of your mind until it went quiet. I'm sorry, he said, the words stumbling over each other. Mom, I'm so sorry. Please say something. I am saying something. She stood and walked to the window. Outside, a child on a scooter laughed, and the sound floated up like a bubble. Life was still going on. The world was not broken. Her heart was bruised, not ruined. She could feel the difference. When your father died, Julia said, keeping her voice even, I made a promise to myself. I would not make you carry my grief. I would not hold you too close. I would let you grow even if it scared me. But I also promised something else. I would teach you the difference between love and taking. Ethan's breathing hitched. I know the difference, he said weakly. If you knew it, you wouldn't be in that room, she replied. He didn't argue. He sounded smaller when he spoke again. I panicked. Lena said if we didn't go now, we never would. She said we'd miss our chance. I wanted to feel free. Julia nodded to herself, though he couldn't see. Freedom bought with someone else's trust is not freedom, she said. It's a debt. He let out a small, helpless laugh that wasn't really a laugh. I messed everything up. Not everything, she said. You can fix some of it. How? His voice was young again, the sound of scraped knees and late-night fevers, the sound of a boy who used to ask if monsters were real. You can start by telling the truth without hiding inside excuses, she said. And you can come home when you are ready to face the cost. I'll come home now, he said quickly. I'll get on a flight tonight. No, Julia said, surprised at her own answer. The word felt solid and kind. Stay. Sit with what you did. Look out that balcony and feel the space where I should be. Let that feeling teach you something you will not forget. He went quiet. When he spoke again, the tremble had softened. I don't want you to hate me. I don't hate you, she said. I'm angry. I'm disappointed. But I love you. Love is not the same as permission. Another pause. Then, so quiet she almost missed it. Lena says I'm overreacting. She says it's just a trip. Julia let the honesty of that sentence settle between them. Then Lena doesn't know who you are, she said. Or who I am. He sniffed. She says you'll calm down if I wait. She is not living with the bill, Julia said. And she is not living with the story of how it was paid. The clock ticked again, steady as a metronome. Julia felt a line forming inside her, clear and straight. A boundary. It wasn't a wall. It was a door with rules. Here is what will happen, she said. I'm going to call the hotel and confirm the charges. Then I will move the exact amount from your account to mine. If there's not enough, I'll set a plan. You will pay every cent. We will not talk until the money and the truth are both in order. Ethan inhaled sharply. Mom, this is not revenge, she said. It's repair. You broke something. You don't get to decide how it is fixed. He was quiet a long time. When he spoke, his voice was flat with shame and relief. Okay, good, she said. One more thing. What? When you come home, you won't find the same mother you left, Julia said. I'll still love you, but I won't be as easy to lie to. That is a gift I am done giving. She could hear him swallow. I understand. She didn't say she hoped so. She didn't say anything comforting to soften the corners. She let the truth stand between them like a table where both of them could place their hands. I have to go, she said finally. Take care of yourself, Ethan. Mom. Yes. I'm sorry, he said again quietly, as if speaking to the red curtains, to the brass lamp, to the city that didn't belong to him the way he thought it did. I'm really, really sorry. I know, she said. She ended the call. The room fell still. Julia set the phone down and breathed in through her nose, out through her mouth. She walked to the sink and ran cold water over her wrists until the heat in her chest calmed. Then she dried her hands, sat at the table, and opened her laptop. She pulled up the hotel number and pressed call. As the dial tone rang in her ear, she looked at the small plant on the windowsill, its new leaves bright and stubborn. She felt something inside her answer it, small, bright, and stubborn too. By the time the front desk picked up, Julia's voice was steady again. Hello, she said. I need to confirm a reservation. Room 307. The hotel clerk spoke politely with a soft Paris accent. Julia confirmed the dates, the room, and the charge. The clerk read back the details. Room 307, 2 guests, deposit taken, balance due tomorrow. It felt like listening to the weather for a storm already over your house. Thank you, Julia said. She ended the call and opened her banking app. The charge was there, heavy and undeniable. She stared at the number for a long moment. Then she did what she had promised Ethan on the phone. She transferred the exact amount from his linked savings to her account. The transfer went through with a small green check mark. No anger. No speech. Just a clean line between what was his to pay and what was hers to release. She wrote one message and sent it. Money can be replaced. Trust cannot. Do not call me until you understand the difference. Then she put the phone face down and let the quiet fill the room. It did not feel empty. It felt honest. That night, she slept lightly. She dreamed of red curtains and a little balcony. Sometimes she saw herself there with Ethan as a boy, his hand in hers, his eyes bright with the joy of being seen. Sometimes she saw him older, standing just out of reach, a door half open between them. In the morning, she woke before the sun and made coffee in the dark. She held the warm cup and watched the sky turn from steel to pale blue. Days passed. The house found its rhythm again. Work. Dishes. Small talks with neighbors in the hallway. The garden that always needed watering. Now and then, Julia's phone buzzed with messages from Lena, short, shiny phrases. Hope you're okay. And misunderstanding happens, white heart. Julia did not answer. She didn't block her either. Silence was a boundary too. On the fourth day, the green checkmark appeared again, balance paid. Ethan had covered the rest from his account. Julia nodded to herself, as if someone inside had stood up straighter. She did not write to him. She had said when they would talk, and that time had not come. A week later, an envelope arrived in the mailbox. No return address, but she knew the handwriting. It was the same uneven slope from school permission slips and Mother's Day cards. She brought it inside and sat at the table before opening it. The letter was long, and the ink was smudged in places. Ethan wrote about the moment he saw her comment, how the room shrank and the air felt wrong. He wrote that Paris was beautiful, but every view tasted like metal in his mouth. He wrote that he and Lena had fought on the second night. She had called it drama. He had called it stealing. They had used the same words but meant different things. By the end of the letter, he said they were no longer together. He wrote, I stood under the Eiffel Tower and thought about the boy who promised you we would come here together. I miss him. I think you do too. I don't want to lose you for real this time. I'm learning the difference between guilt and change. I want the second one. Julia read the letter twice. She felt pain, yes, but it was a clean pain, like a stitch that holds a wound closed so it can heal. She placed the letter back in the envelope and tucked it in a drawer with old postcards and small, important things. She waited 3 more days. Then she sent a new message. Your account is settled. When you are ready to talk with no excuses, come for dinner on Sunday. 6 p.m. Bring nothing but the truth. Sunday came. The clock reached 6 and then 2 minutes passed. The doorbell rang. Ethan stood on the porch, thinner around the eyes, holding nothing but his shaking hands. Julia opened the door and stepped aside. He walked in like someone entering a quiet church. They did not hug right away. They sat at the table with bowls of simple soup and bread. At first they ate in silence. Then Ethan spoke. He did not defend. He did not twist words into softer shapes. He told the truth like a person laying tools on a table. 1, 2, 3. He said he had wanted to feel grown and chosen. He said he had lied because he was afraid of disappointing her. He said he had paid the money, but he knew money was not the real debt. He looked at his hands. I don't expect you to forgive me today. Julia listened. When he finished, she reached for the small cloth napkin and folded it slowly. Her voice was quiet. Forgiveness isn't a door you burst through. It's a path we agree to walk. I'm willing to walk it if you are. I am, he said. His eyes were wet. I want to be the kind of man who doesn't need a lie to get what he wants. Good, she said. Then we start with small things. You come for dinner on Thursdays. You help me fix the cabinet. You call when you say you will. We will not talk about Paris unless we are telling the truth about it. He nodded, relief and sorrow braided on his face. Okay. They washed dishes side by side. The ordinary sounds, water, plates, drawers closing, felt like a promise being made again and again. When he left, he hugged her, but gently, as if holding something that was still healing. Spring moved forward. The garden turned green. The world lifted its face to the light. On a bright morning, Julia opened her laptop and looked at a map of Paris. The city did not scare her anymore. The dream did not feel like a rope pulling her backward. It felt like a hand offering to walk with her. She booked room 307 again. Not out of stubbornness, but because the view had been hers long before it was borrowed. She wrote the dates in her calendar. Late May, just after the chestnut trees bloom. She did not hide it. She told Ethan at Thursday dinner. "I'm going to Paris," she said, spooning salad onto his plate. "I'm going alone." He blinked, then smiled with a sadness that was also respect. "That's right," he said. "That's good. If you want to take a trip with me one day," she added, "we'll plan it together. 2 adults. 1 truth." He met her eyes. "I'd like that." In Paris, the air smelled like warm bread and wet stone. Julia opened the balcony doors of room 307 and stepped outside. The city hummed, a soft engine of footsteps, voices, bicycle bells. A florist across the street arranged roses in buckets the color of old movies. She placed her hands on the rail and let the view sink into her bones. She walked. She learned the streets without needing to say them out loud. She stood in front of paintings and let their quiet talk to hers. She ate alone without feeling lonely. When the tower lit up at night, she watched from a bench and thought of the boy who had promised to come here and the man who might keep better promises now. On her last morning, she took a small card from her bag and wrote a line to herself. This city was not lost. It was waiting. She slid the card into the drawer beside the brass lamp, like a note to a future guest who might need it. Then she closed the door softly and wheeled her suitcase down the hall. Back home, there was another letter in the mail. Ethan wrote about Thursday dinners and the job he wanted to apply for, and the way he had cut his budget to pay down his debts. He wrote that he had told a friend no, clearly and kindly, and it felt like fresh air. He ended with a simple sentence. "I want you to be proud of the truth I live next." Julia smiled. She folded the letter and placed it beside the first one. The path was slow, but it was theirs. She turned toward the kitchen, toward the evening light, toward the phone she would answer when it rang next. Not to rescue, not to punish, but to meet her son as the man he was trying to become. Room 307 was behind her now, and also inside her. The view she carried when she opened her own windows, the boundaries she kept when love asked for honesty. And when the night settled, it felt not like an ending at all, but a steady, open door.